Hey world, this is Kimberly and Connor Tracy over here at Big Red SEO on this beautiful Friday over in Omaha, Nebraska.
Hey guys.
In our new small office. Excuse the crooked lamp shade.
Holy crap.
As well as today we're talking about emotion and how emotion in your content can actually set you apart in the SEO world and online presence. Really quick as a sidebar, as everybody starts to tune in, thank you for joining us live or replay. You guys know, like we make decisions every single day off of emotion, right? So whether it's we're selling, whether we're buying, whether we're researching, or we're just kind of haphazard on autopilot, consuming and taking in knowledge and data, right? And I thought it was so appropriate because I was like, man, I want to go and just take a minute and go grab a coffee. And I'm not going to say the name of the company because I'm not sponsored or anything else. But this coffee cup drives me freaking batty. First off, kudos to the designer that created it. I love your creative expression. If you follow me on my personal page, you actually will see I posted Starbucks. Oops, said the name. I posted this company 3 times in a row because they have multiple different designs. And I got the most crooked one first. So I actually got this one. But every once in a while, they have crooked letters and it drives my brain crazy. It makes me like, and it's still stress, right? So I have to subconsciously cut cords with it. Hey, Loveline, thanks for tuning in. I have to subconsciously cut cords with it. I have to acknowledge and cut cords with it, right? It does not take away from me wanting to purchase the actual coffee per se, because I love the drink of the coffee. However, everything that we do and everything that we represent ourselves, our business, our company, our content, our products, it infuses an emotion from somebody. Mm-hmm. Now, you guys will have those cuckoo, ka-choo people that are just naturally emotional in themselves. You can't control that. You can't edit that, right? But today we wanted to dive in on how when emotion is infused with confidence, from everything that you do from the very beginning of your title tags and meta descriptions for SEO, that you can actually convert the sell and instill confidence in people to get them to purchase before they even land on your website, mm-hmm. right? Which we'll cookie crumb and talk about that. But Conor also loves to chat about the fact that sex sells, right?
Sure, it does.
He is a huge believer in that sometimes it's the sexiness in the...
It depends on... Okay, all right. So, hi, Mom. Let's get into that topic now.
Right, let's dive in.
The whole thing with the sex sells, it's been the adage for 100 years, 200,000 years, okay, whatever it happens to be.
Yeah.
But depending on the industry, sex does sell. You mm-hmm. look at the Carl's Jr. commercial or the Hardee's commercial, depending on the side of the country you're in.
Yeah.
That had the gal, I don't even remember her name, Jessica Simpson or somebody, right?
Mm-hmm. Jessica
Eating
Simpson.
a hamburger, crawling all over a car.
It was like Dukes of Hazzard, right? Or was it before Dukes of Hazzard?
I think it was about that same time. But either way, that was the image that they were going for. They were targeting a specific demographic.
Right.
GoDaddy did the same thing. They targeted a specific demographic, and the demographic was males. So that was how they do it. But right. You look at Victoria's Secret, I mean, they run all their commercials, mm-hmm. and they're targeting men and women.
Yeah.
So, yeah, sex does sell. Of course it does.
It does.
End of story.
Well, right? So the thought process is that you can actually find a way, depending on what your product and service is, I think any product and service, you can find a way to make it sexy. So we actually used to use the language that sexy or SEO is not sexy, right? And right. We would constantly use this language, even with prospects and clients, and so forth. And we had to have a come to the base conversation to say, well, actually, no, it is kind of sexy. One, mm-hmm. It can lead to growth. It can lead to new customers coming in. It can lead into money flowing in. It can lean into stepping forward and actually serving your ideal clientele, right? It can lead in an abstract way. SEO, in theory, compared to any other marketing, can let you hone in on who is your exact ideal client. And you start to build your business around that versus just trying to get any anybody and everybody and tire kickers and people that are looking for discounts or lack or fear-based, right? So in that whole general aspect, SEO is actually very sexy. Now, the thing about it is that it comes down to you have to be consistent with it and you have to know it. Like you guys have known if you followed us for a while, there are new things in SEO, but the majority of the structure basic of SEO has not changed one bit. The area that causes the change is people out there trying to cheat the system or work around the system or not want to put in the time and the effort for the search engines to figure out who are they. They don't want to take the time to step forward and put the effort into becoming the industry leader. Instead, they want it quick, sweet, like a combined deal. Right. And then what happens is you wind up cutting corners, and then the search engines have to go back through and clean all that up. They have to create new rules and regulations and clean that area.
Yeah, so I would change some of the language in there. Instead of being the people that are chasing, can you pop that out of there? There you go.
It drove us crazy. It's driving crazy.
The light comes right back at me. So, but instead of the people that are chasing the SEO, it's the I can't remember where I was going. That's what Kim's computer does to me. So, that light, it just comes right back in.
Yeah, so the thought process is SEO can be sexy, right? I think any product, any service can be sexy.
Right. And from that end of things, not everything from an advertisement end needs to be around sex.
Yes.
So let's take that part off the table and look at the other end of things. So the other variations of emotional selling.
Yeah.
So as a whole in the industry, I mean, you've got two different categories. One is the fear-based, and then the other one is the happiness reward based, I guess would be.
So it's like the other side of it is like the joy, the happiness, the love, the excitement, the being genuine, being trustworthy, right? Being a lot of people last year used the word authentic, which I understand, right? But it's being open and it's being willing to communicate and be happy. Like you want to instill people leveling up versus leveling down out of fear, right?
So one of the things used in sales, and you've seen it on pop-ups on websites, and when you're talking about specials or running discounts online or even in stores, it's always the limited time special or limited time sale or offer expires Friday or only 2 left in stock. It's not necessarily the takeaway sale. So there's a different variation in sales called a takeaway sale. Mm-hmm. When you offer something, you get someone to bite off on it, and then you take that off the table altogether because they didn't move fast enough. Yeah. Okay. It's a specific way of doing sales. It works in some industries and not so much in others. But the limited time offer, it's the fear of missing out, and that can play a big role in all the marketing. Now, all of that ties in directly with SEO. And specifically when I'm talking about the SEO, I'm talking about the CTR, the click-through ratio. When somebody sees your listing inside of Google and then they click on a specific link to go to a specific page, the emotions that are used in that title or in that description will determine the type of client that's coming to your website. Right. It's also going to determine whether that person is going to be an information person or they're actually a product purchase person. Mm-hmm. And then all of that ties into the content that's on the actual page itself. So when we do our writings in both our websites and websites for clients, we come from the side of things where everything is non-fear based. Right. So everything is positive. If you're talking about a pest control company, we're not talking about your deck might fall down because you might have termites, you need to get an inspection. That's kind of fear-based. You're going to lose your deck. Your house is going to be worth nothing because you've got termites. That's not the angle of sales that we would approach when we're doing things. I don't know what you would do for termites in that regards.
Well, I think at that point, like a good spin on that is that you want to be proactive about it, right? Like nobody wants their property to be damaged, right? But if they're in a problem right now, the solution is, hey, like if you've got it and it's there, here's what you can expect, right? You educate, you knowledge, you give them details and data. Here's what you can expect. And by the way, we can provide the solution for you. Give us a call. We can handle you. We can get you in. We're the experts in it. Here's the reason why. So again, it's about also leaning into giving education, right? You don't want to tell somebody that their house is going to get hit by a storm and hail damage. Like, people already know that that's going to happen. And instead, you want to actually step forward and be like, okay, when that happens, depending on where you're located, here's what we can do. And more importantly, guys, in the emotion part, it's really important to communicate what can people expect from you, right? Like, if you're in an industry that you classify yourself as super competitive, like we like to use a language of peers more than competition, right? But we get it. We understand that it's a language. We use that language. But if you're in that industry, what sets you apart, right? Like what makes your company different? What do you stand for that's different? Mm-hmm. Some trades individuals are really big on communication, and that's the deal that gets them in the gate, if that makes sense. There's other ones that it comes down to, they'll get the lowest price. They'll make sure that the people pay and invest the lowest deal of the thing, and that's how they're known, right? There's also other ones that are super well known for the quality of work, right? A lot of people like to talk about the quality of work, but at the end of the day, how you reflect that and how you make that aspect of emotion really good and instill like confidence as well as security and safety, right? That helps people make a decision. You get reviews where it reflects to people the difference that you actually made and what is those aspects that made your company stand apart, if that makes sense.
So
Thank you everybody for joining.
Is this name drop time? Can I start dropping brands?
I get nervous when you drop names.
So, I don't know. Two big names that come to mind when I deal with the insurance industry.
Yeah.
One is Allstate and the other one is State Farm. And if you look at their commercials...
You guys see me go red? Did you just see the redness? We are not being sponsored by any of them. No.
If you look at their... If you look at their commercials over the years, the last couple of years in particular, they more talk about the benefits of being with that particular insurance company and the rewards you would get.
Right.
So Allstate, for example, they have the Allstate Forgiveness Program, I think it is, where you... I know. If you are with them long enough, then your insurance rates start to go down. You get rewards, you get discounts, you get a check back in your hand.
We may not know this program, y'all, so just FYI, do your own research.
It's on TV. And then you've got State Farm and their accident forgiveness end of things. But then you've got the other side of the coin. You've got the life insurance end of things.
Right.
And the life insurance is, oh my God, when you die, your family is going to be screwed because you have no money. That's a fear-based selling.
Y'all, if you know me and you're in my circle, I got cords on that. He was like, "You're gonna die." Oh my gosh!
No, seriously though.
Cut your cords.
When you look at those two different angles and those two different companies, one is a rewards-based system and what you'll get from them, versus the other one of, if you don't do this, then you're going to be in trouble.
Right.
You look at financial advising and stuff like that, and that's another field where you have to put money away in order to do stuff later on in life. It's more about the selling of what your future can hold and what you can accomplish in the future, and less about, if you don't put it away, you're going to be screwed. So they don't necessarily talk about the negative side of things. They talk about the positive end of things.
So in the thought process, guys, in the fear-based, and that's the easiest thing to talk about, right? Because you can look around and you can see it anywhere and everywhere, whether it's TV, radio, magazines, like social media, you can see it all over. So in fear-based, what happens is something that's activated, it's blame, shame, or guilt, right? Guilt for not making the purchase, guilt for not having an investment, guilt for not knowing what you didn't actually know, right? Shame that you should have done better, shame that you could have done better, you would have done better, right? And then what happens is it gets really sticky, right? And then people will make decisions off the seat of their pants versus actually taking a moment to step back and be like, you know what, it makes me feel really good and really safe if I actually just shell some money into a life savings account. So my spouse is handled and taken care of. So I shell some money into a college, whatever the thing is for my kiddos, so they don't have to stress. But if they decide they don't want to go to college, they can go to trade school. And if they decide they don't want to go to trade school, they can take that money and they could go buy and invest a house or start a brand new business, right?
But all of that is about the positivity of the choice that you're going to make.
Correct.
And on the websites, the content that's on the website all follows that same that same flow. The from the advertisements on the radios to the flyers to the postcards,
everything goes through. Yep.
And then the website. Everything goes from the positive end of things. So when it comes to your click-through ratio with regards to your SEO rankings and where you're ranking inside of Google, the fear does sell, but the rewards sell usually better. When we do Google ads and things like that, it's more about what you'll gain by purchasing a particular product rather than what you will lose by not buying that product or service.
Yeah, and I also think like whenever you follow it full circle in all of your marketing, right? And you instill the emotion of, hey, you're looking for a long-term partnership, right? Like you might have ups and downs in the business, right? But you're wanting somebody to be there with you long term, and you're wanting to step in and serve them long term, right? When you take the language and you take it into the positive realm, and it almost removes the sales, it almost removes the stickiness of the sales. It's not to say that you cannot be good at sales. You absolutely could be. There's different psychological things that you can do to stay in the seat of positive and then be able to get deals closed, right? And not go into the fear side of it. However, people really want, whenever they pick up the phone and they're in a problem, they want a solution, and they want to be less sold and more, they want to understand that you can actually take care of them, that you have the product or the service to serve them, to get them handled, and that you're actually here to do this because you want to do it. You're not just working a job, right?
There's a lot of businesses that go from that with the telephone line in particular.
Yeah.
And their staff is trained on empathy.
Yeah.
So you have to empathize with the customer. You have to not necessarily agree with everything that they're saying, but you have to understand everything they're saying and see it from their end.
Yeah.
And then
I think it's
help.
a matter of people want to be heard, right? So like that's where the empathy gets put into. You don't have to sit in people's shit with them, right? Like that's not the purpose, but people do want to be heard. And sometimes what happens is they're so much in their thing, they're so much in the problem, and they don't know where to go, that if you can actually find a way to use a voice of just authority, but then also compassion and empathy, and then positivity, like infusing that, hey, we can get you taken care of. We can help you with this problem really quickly. We can get you on the books. That kind of instills and puts the bow on it, and it takes the stress off of them. You don't want to take their stress on, if that makes sense. But really quickly, to take it all the way back, all this emotion, guys, like when people do a search on a search engine, right? And they're looking for product or service, or they're researching, right? You actually have the ability to like stand out from the crowd, from the search engine results, by instilling language, content, and emotion inside your title tags and meta descriptions. It's one of the aspects that companies miss over and over and over. And when you do SEO right, what happens is you actually set yourself apart, and people click into your website, and then the language, the emotion that you've actually presented, which hopefully it's positive, will infuse in the rest of your content and will infuse into your blog. Like you're giving data, you're giving information, you're helping people see from a simplistic standpoint, what is it that you do? What does your company stand for? What can they expect? What frequently asked questions are they going to have? What are they not asking? That's one thing that a lot of people come back to us to say, what am I not asking you, right? Because people don't know what they don't know, right?
Well, we were at a client yesterday.
Our days have merged in together,
it's
guys.
All like
it's
this.
'Tis the season.
It was either yesterday or the day before. We were at a client site, and we were talking about frequently asked questions and just various aspects with the inside of their business.
Right.
That we had come up with a list ourselves of probably 30 different things of, what'll happen if, and when we were talking with the marketing director there, they were like, oh yeah, well, I had those same questions myself. I had this other question altogether.
Yeah.
And they never put it onto the website. They thought about it, but they never put it onto the website. And that's an area that's missed content-wise within a site. A lot of people forget about the content. But those frequently asked questions, those positive spins on bad outcomes, they're things that you can easily do and just flip the entire script for the user. They're coming in from a negative situation. and you can go in there and turn that into a little bit more positive.
Yeah, and so like a really quick way to start. So say that your content's negative, or say that your language has been over into the negative side in world. And really quickly, we're not telling you guys that you're doing it wrong. This is just one strategy that we have been able to implement in our own business. If you go to our website, there might be some sprinkles of fear-based because we did some A/B testing, right? So he likes to come from a language sometimes of fear, and I like to come from the positive side, but we're like testing to figure this out. So we've tested it internally, right? As well as with clients. So the thought process is, if your language is negative, cool, like write it down on a piece of paper and figure out what way could you flip that back over to a positive. So it's good to know the root of the negative, of where somebody would be sitting, right? Whether it's fear or lack based. But there's a way to articulate and spin and twist it to where it can actually be positive, and it can you can stand apart, guys. Like that's the core of the message.
So one prime example within our website, we talk about when we build a website for somebody, one of the things that we don't want to do is hold that client hostage in any way.
And hostage is technically a negative word.
It's a negative phrase. The whole connotation that goes with it, essentially, we build a website, we hand over the keys to the user or the client. They can make any modification they want. They can make any edit they want. They can hire another person that knows WordPress and make all their edits that way. A lot of the people that we deal with are people that have come from other web designers that don't hand over the source code or don't hand over all the password information and things like that. And they're literally being held hostage. So we do use that wording in order to attract that particular client to then sell them on why you don't want to be that. Another prime example would be from a hack situation, hacking, defacing of websites, things like that. If you don't have a backup, then you have to start from scratch. That's just, it is what it is. It's nothing.
It's reality based.
It's not necessarily negative or pushing the negative. But the fact is, if you don't have a backup, you have to start from scratch. And that's the same in anything.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
So there is some negative end of things there, but then you have the positive end of things of, here's how easy it is to make a backup. There's 3 clicks of a button. You make a backup. You have it every month. Hey, if you're doing management with us, we do a backup every week and we store that.
Yeah. So, by the way, plugin management, we just started a promotion. So if you're interested, if you have a website in WordPress, you are interested in us handling it and you guys not having to mess with it at all, send me a private message. I'll send you the promotion details. That was my sales pitch.
Well, there you go.
Yeah.
So what else you got then?
Well, the thought process really quickly, I think that you touched base really good on us not holding people hostage, right? So like, even though that language could be, or that word could be classified as a negative, as a business, when we very first started, we kind of made a list of the things that really drove us crazy, if that makes sense. So that might be a good strategy for you guys when you're infusing positive emotions, right? When you're infusing security, when you get people to be able to sit to where they can make a decision between their mind and their heart at the same time. What happens is the purchase becomes easier, but I think sometimes we have to put ourselves in the seat of the customer, right? For us, holding it hostage was not an option. We were like, we would rather give full control to somebody else, right? And be able to make sure that they're taken care of. And then as we went through year by year by year, we heard different scenarios and situations where designers would go MIA. It's normal. I don't want to really say normal. It's very common in our industry for a designer to come through, sell a website design, and then disappear, or come through, sell a website design, get halfway through, and then all of a sudden decide to close shop. It's unfortunately that it actually happens. However, we figured out what is a core pillar that we wanted to step ourselves apart. It's very unique that we actually give full control to business owners. In addition to it, we wanted to ensure what way could we be trustworthy and give them full control so they don't even have to question it. It's like they got full copyright, they have full access, everything is in their name. It's not in our name.
All the analytics, all the Google stuff, everything is in the client's name.
Yeah.
And that's how it should be.
Yeah. And so the thought process for you guys is figure out what way could your company stand apart? What way could you create something differently, or the language of something differently, right? And I think that once you get all the answers put out there right at the very beginning in all of your content and your language, at that point, the sale just flows. It becomes easy, right? You're going to have some people that are going to question, hey, how much does this cost? Hey, can you answer these questions? If it's common questions that come up, like we've said before, put them in your frequently asked questions. People are actually reading content. This is one of the things that has drove us crazy over the last year. And when you went on Google, you actually found like there's always been this thing called dwell time, and people think that people are not wanting to read content. They're not wanting to go to websites and have so much information on the pages, right? It's almost like people are trying to turn to the minimalist look because we're in an app world. We get it. We understand it. There is data behind it. People are reading, they're researching, and the information is not out there because people are following a trend where they're going after the minimal look, which I get, I see, and I understand.
Right.
So for you to be able to communicate with the emotion, you have even a better chance of actually stepping yourself apart. Does that make sense?
So from the minimal look end of things, so as an example, Apple does not need to put why their stuff is better than everybody else.
Apple is already known.
And advertise all of that within their website.
Yeah.
So they are running a minimal website where you've got the product that needs to be purchased, a simple button just to click it, and off you go.
Yeah.
And you're in and you're out. They don't have to say what their processors are and everything else. They do have technical pages in there, but not for the general public.
Right. But
you as a business owner, or you as a service business owner, or product or whatnot, you have to be able to differentiate why you versus somebody else. Why this plumber and not the other main brand or name brand plumber that we've heard of for the last 20 years. Why are you better?
Right.
And 9 times out of 10, you've got a better service, or you have a better service mindset. You may not be able to do all the things the other guy can do, but you get you, and that's half the battle.
And I think that's like, if you are an entrepreneur, right? You have a small business, or maybe you have a medium or large business, but say that you are the driver of your business and sales. You are the product. You are the service. Yes, you are selling something. Yes, something else is going to be executed and implemented more than likely, or a product's going to be shipped and sold, but you are the business, right? So like whenever you can actually articulate what you're attempting to say, if you can articulate the security, the safety, the confidence that you can actually handle and take care of somebody, the clarity of what the next steps are, you are actually what's being sold. Time and time again, we have talked to so many businesses and helped coach them through that. So I think that emotion, if you're not utilizing the emotion, you might actually be missing a huge portion of your business. Because it's one of the easiest sales processes ever. In every piece of content, we infuse that. We figure out what is the intention, what is the objective, what are they attempting to do, what is it that they want in the general world, who is their ideal client, and then we execute it.
And then be aware that it is different for different industries.
Yeah.
So, Kim runs coaching stuff and retreats and things like that. And
I got a retreat coming in 2020, y'all.
There you go, another plug.
A live event in February too. So if you're interested, put a message below.
The thing is that with those particular things, they are a limited seat availability.
Yeah.
So there is that, it's not a negative, it's just that this is the limitation on it, and there's various businesses that are that way. If I want to go to a hockey game, or if I want to go to a Husker game, a football game, they only have a certain number of seats in that stadium, and after that, there are no more tickets. Find someone else to take their ticket.
Find somebody else to take it over. So hopefully, guys, this was added value for you. If you have questions, we offer bundled pricing for hours. We can help you. We actually write content, so we can help you with that as well. But our intention for today's episode was kind of to bring a different strategy, to bring a different marketing hyper focus for you guys. Here's the deal: is if you're like, hey, you guys are cuckoo, like we're not drinking your Kool-Aid, it's absolutely okay. You don't have to drink our Kool-Aid, right? You can continue forward.
You're wrong.
You can continue forward with what you're doing, and then just see where you can implement really quickly, because this episode was focused on SEO specifically. But you can actually apply all of these aspects, y'all, all of them, into your social media. So we don't do social media marketing, but one thing that we've kind of like kept ourselves secret on, we help a vast amount of businesses figure out what to put on social media, and to do it where it's not sticky icky and it's not fear-based, and instead it's sitting in the seat of, this is what we do really well, this is who we want to serve, this is why we're so happy over here growing by leaps and bounds. Oh, and by the way, this is what you need to know. So you can apply all of this, including the emotion emotion into your social media. And then that comes all the way back. If your social media is not pointing back to your website, y'all, so whether it's on your pages, or you better be doing blog articles, right, on your actual website, not on an external website like WordPress. Instead, it's inside your WordPress website. If you're not doing that and you're not doing consistent, you're not serving your clients to the maximum capability you could be, and you're not growing your online presence as fast as you could, especially in the SEO world.
And the social media and things, the emotional selling on social media, Facebook in particular, I mean, is off the charts.
It is crazy. It's great. People are like, feel it immediately. And even if they don't want it, they're like, what? Like, if say they're in the, just having a bad, grumpy day, if they see positive, they come back out.
There's a reason why in this video I smile for the entire video.
Yeah. Did you smile? Oh, that is your smile. So you guys can see a smile in his eyes, right? Like he has a twinkle in his eyes. Yeah. That's the smile.
I'm such a happy guy.
You are a happy guy. In your own way, you are a happy guy. You just show it differently. This is the deal. His emotion and how he shows it's different than my emotion and how I show it, right? But you are a happy guy. See the twinkle? See the twinkle in his eye? All right, y'all. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out. We will be back next week, even though it's a holiday. We will be back. It might be more casual. Well, maybe this week's casual. I don't know. Guys, y'all, I know that
Christmas is coming up.
2019 is almost over.
I think Christmas is next week.
So is next week January? Is that our first episode in January?
No, today's the 20th.
So this is it. Y'all, we were prepared for this Facebook Live. We had the subject, but we can't freaking tell you what date it is or what date next week is.
And nor should we.
So it's the last week of December, the 27th. Yep.
Next week.
Yep. Next week is the 27th.
Yes.
Not that I was supposed to say the date on the video for YouTube. Anywho, thank you so much for joining us live. Loveline, thanks for tuning in. If you're here for the replay, thanks for following us. Feel free to subscribe on our YouTube channel. You can get live videos that Conor has kind of done some magic to, which is super cool. In addition to it, you can follow us on Facebook and Twitter. So Conor, roll the buttons. There's our Facebook down at the bottom. Down there, as well as our Twitter. Ooh, look at the space at the time.
Big Red SEO. Twitter.com/Big Red SEO. And then YouTube is youtube.com/Big Red SEO. And you can click a button over there.
Over there.
Where's that, Kim?
I don't know. Over here?
Yeah,
over
down
here?
in the corner, right there.
Down over here. All right, y'all.
You can click over there to subscribe on YouTube and get notifications when we put up new videos and things like that. There's also some private videos that go onto YouTube that don't go anywhere else. So subscribe to that channel and you get those.
Perfect. So, have a great holiday week next week, y'all. And in the meantime, we will talk and chat soon.
All right, guys.
All right.
Have a great day now.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.